Greetings and welcome back to Smartwatch Ticks. We are going to do a deeper dive into this special DM2018 smartwatch we got in from Banggood. Here's the listing on it, the XANES DM2018. In the show notes, you'll have a buying link to pick it up. And there's a video already out on this that covers the full unboxing and first look. I highly encourage you to take a look at that one because this deeper dive is going to kick off of that review and take you further. I don't know if I'm like manic depressive or obsessive compulsive or just plain ADHD, but when I first started the review, if you recall, I was really upset with this watch. I thought it was, well, a piece of junk. Then I discovered that it's not really a piece of junk, it's great. It's just that this is the Chinese version. By that I mean, when I went into it, it was all in Chinese. And so, if you get one, and it'll probably show up this way, I want to guide you through how you set it to English. That's the first part of the deeper dive. Second icon down looks like a gear is your settings. You're going in there. It's pretty easy. You see the one that's got the alphabet by it? You'll probably start up here. And you're going to scroll down till you find that one that has the alphabet. And then the very first selection gets you into your languages. And that's where you're going to pick your language. Whoops, that's United Kingdom. Let's go back and pick USA. Slight differences there. English, United States. Okay, now we are back button, back button, back button. We're set for English. That was the first problem. Second problem was, as I looked through it, and I've got a whole bunch of apps in here now that are side-loaded. I'll tell you about that. But the core apps, there were no Google apps. There's no Google software because, as most of you know, in China, there's no Google. It's not allowed. So whenever they put together a watch for internal use, it's going to be in Chinese, and it's going to be without Google software. This version that came to me from Banggood looks like it came out of the internal stock. If you order one, I can't tell you for sure if you're going to get international or domestic, but if it's international, it will have the full complement of Google software and ship in English. So that was the second thing that was a problem. But then as we went on, we discovered some awesome stuff, like it has an full 8 megapixel front-facing camera on here. It has fitness on here built into it, and we even went so far as to go into some of these and see that it actually calls for GPS. It interfaces with the GPS chip so that you get your actual GPS track. That was awesome. So all in all, it turned out to be pretty good, but now I've taken it out for a little testing. And although you've got all of these nice activities you can do, most of which, half marathon, full marathon, all of those invoke the GPS, and you can go into your sports history, and from in here, you can slide over and look at all the different events that you've collected. I've got a couple of them here, and here's a riding one. I can go into the riding event, and there's my actual GPS track as recorded. Pretty cool. Slide it up. I get all kinds of statistics and speed and pace and highest speed. Oh, by the way, I was riding in a car. I wasn't running. Just collecting data. Maximum stride, minimum stride. Can you imagine that? 78 centimeter, whatever stride? I don't know. And on and on and on. So you have all kinds of fun data that comes in here, and it's in the phone. Now, the real use of this is if you can get it, is in the watch, is if you can get it from the watch into the phone, right? Now we start to see some pimples on this watch show up. The tethering app is called Fundu. First issue, and I'm actually going to do a little video, a little quick tips and techniques video on this because we're buried deep in the second video, and this is critical for you to know. When you open the Fundu app, and it goes through its process of getting set up, and sorry it's in black, so it's got heavy reflections. You'll see my picture a lot, and there's no way to change that. Anyway, here is the main opening page, and as you can tell, when I go over here, I'm not connected. the DM2018. It was connected before. Now if I say to tie the equipment, it disconnects it all together. So I have to add a device. And when I add a device, you see, in all the things that I have in the house, none of them are pinging as the 2018. That's because in this watch, for the first time, you've got to do two things. First, you've got to go in and make sure, oh, by the way, when it goes bright and low, I've got that display brightness, and if I slide to the side, it interferes every now and then. That's what's going on there. Yes, I side-loaded that, folks, without the Google Play Store. It's not on the Play Store anyway. If you want that one and a lot of the other ones that I use, you're going to need to download it off of my Google Drive, which you can get to by going to, ready for this? tinyurl, tinyurl.com/Android watches. That'll take you in there, and you can download display brightness to play with that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look at some of the other Android reviews. I cover it in almost all of them. Now, we're in here, and what am I doing? I'm checking our connectivity, right? Connection, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Bluetooth, that's the one. I'm losing track of where I am. You see, it's on, and my name is DM2018. So this has already been set up, and it should automatically sync, but it won't. And it won't because of this. When you slide down, in your second screen over, you get like notifications over here, and then you get more stuff over here, all that stuff, and it loops, I guess. Anyway, we're here on the second tab over, and this funny little icon right here, you tap on that, and check it out. It's saying that in order to tether, even though you have Bluetooth turned on, even though the name is propagating, you have to flip this switch. Okay, it says bull already started. Now, if I re-scan, now my DM2018 comes up. I can tap on it. It's going to say it's connecting. Once it connects, all those bad reflections. It's going to do the passcode thing so I can try to pair the two of them together, and it gets all connected. It synchronizes all of the data, and we're good to go. I couldn't get you to the next step without getting you through this. That's the first blemish. It's not that big a deal, but if you don't know how to turn that switch on, you will think it's broken, and you'll never, ever tether this thing to the Fondue Pro app. Once you're tethered, however, now check this out. I've got 308 steps from the pedometer on here. That's all fine and dandy. But what I want is my sports history. I want all of these runs that I did, walks that I did, cycling, all the things I accumulated on here transferred over. But wait, they're not here. Here's my sports statistics. It says it should be here. Average number total steps. This is just my pedometer count. This is when I did it on the different days accumulated. Sleep statistics. Here's me, all sorts of stuff about me, my steps. Again, it's only step count and calories burned. Analysis is all of that. The central thing is all of that. And here's all sorts of data on all of that, but not anything that's come. It's just my steps. Nothing that came from the sports fitness area, even though it's tied to GPS, even though I got the tracks, even though I got all those things like pace, I don't have it in the app. I go to reports. Here's my activity report. It's only the step count. Every which way you can dice, slice, and cut my silly pedometer is shown in the app. More is simply all your settings, okay? But there's no report for anything sport related. Folks, if you use this watch, your sports statistics are going to live in the watch and only in the watch. You're not transferring them out to the app. So, to me, that's a second blemish on this. All the true sports watches like the Amazfit Pace and Stratos and the Garmin watches and all of those, the key thing is to get the data out of the watch to the app and from the app to Runtastic or Strava or Google Fit or something else where you can share it with the world, right? Well, unless I'm missing something, and if I am, please, those of you who figure this out, let us know in the show notes. I'll take it, or in the comments, I'll put it in the show notes, and we'll explain how you can get the data that you get on here usable outside of the watch. But that's a little issue too. Now let's talk all things Google and apps. Yeah, before I go there, let me tell you that for sure, when you press and hold and you look at all of the clock faces, you don't get the plus key over here. You're not able to add any watch faces from a server, and the clock skin folder does not work. The only way you're able to add watch faces on here is when you go to more and you get into push dial. Here are all the watch faces that are already installed, and if there's a way to get dials into the app or into the phone that will be seen by the app and then show up, then you could push them from the app into the watch. But for now, I don't know how you could get any more of the watch faces you want over there. You can tap any of these and they'll instantly switch to them, but these are all the all the watch faces that are already on the watch. Right? You with me? Okay. Now, let's get out of here and go into the app area. All right. These are all the stock apps. We talked a lot about those. I have side-loaded, which means I have connected a wire from the computer to the watch, and from my computer downloaded APK files that I had archived on my computer. Your standard apps that you would download from Google, but I downloaded them and have them on the computer, and I put them in here. Now, because they're in here as APK files, they're still not running. You have to actually touch them using File Manager. You go into File Manager in here somewhere. And by the way, it's in Tools, and it's here on the, nope, it's in, I always mess up on that. It's in Watch Management. And when you go into Watch Management, File Manager, you dive into internal, and here's all of your folders, and I had one in here for apps, and that's where I had all of my apps. You touch on one of them, and it'll go through the process of installing it. Once they're installed, you can throw those APKs away or delete them off of your watch. You won't need them anymore because the apps themselves will be installed, and they'll show up in More. And in More, I've got all kinds of things. A better voice recorder that allows you to adjust the gain. Easy voice recorder. Oh, something on the moon, something for hunting ghosts. A breathing app like in the Apple thing where you can breathe in, breathe out. Different kind of keyboards to test out on this. Some visualization goodies. And then the AIDA 64. So we can loosely do some techie stuff here and take a look at what's running in the system on the watch. Now remember, this is like a 360 by 360 screen, so look how clear and detailed the writing is. You don't really need a 400 by 400 screen to get done what you want to get done. Here's your overall memory. In other words, you know, when you have an AMOLED 400 by 400 screen and a 300 milliamp hour battery and you're concerned that it's only lasting 4 hours, well, that's why, folks. I would rather have a screen that's like lower power and less pixels that I can actually use, like this one, and a much beefier battery, so it'll last a while. There you go, 320 by 320, there's all the screen information. Okay, and I think that's pretty much it for here. I'm going to hit the back button out of here so we can go into the next one. Got some other goodies in here. Here's a GPS test. I'm going to pop that puppy on. Oh yeah, this one you can actually put it into a speedometer mode, and I was playing with that, and that is so cool. There we go. Okay, you're seeing the satellites starting to pop in. Orange, yellow, and then finally green as it acquires them with this app. Gosh, it's kind of bright. Can I dim it down a little bit? I really like display brightness. No matter what app you're in, it floats on top, and you can get the brightness just so you can actually see the difference between green and yellow when it's right. So it's working on acquiring GPS here indoors. This is really good. It does a great job. If you step outside, boom, they all go green and you're hooked up. So it has a really decent GPS in it, is bottom line what I was going to show you with this app. Don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but it will hook up and it does a great job. And we're loading our apps back. Oh, this is an ad that you get because it's a free one. So after GPS, it put it in the front, I think. Anyway, here you go. Engineering mode MTK. This was another way of testing GPS. You'd go over here, engineering mode MTK shortcut, go into location-based services, go over here to GPS. You've seen this in some of my other reviews. You turn on GPS, and it'll activate and show you a similar type of thing. It's a little, when you hit view, you see this little circle that shows you where all of the satellites are in the sky, and you get bars that show up down here. They're red at first, boom, then they go green, and now we're hooked up to GPS. It's been doing that in the background while I left that app and came to this one, so it looks like it's instant, but it took it a little while, but it's there. So a couple of different ways of testing your GPS to see if it's working for you. What the heck is this? Oh, a volume control. Again, I just put a whole ton of apps in here, but I want to show you the testing apps, which are, the ANTUTU. I'll get to it. Okay, here it is. ANTUTU benchmark test. As you know, we run this thing. This is the standard one I've used on a lot of the other devices. And it asks us to test it. It's going to go through a whole routine of stuff. First thing it does is a 3D graphic. And I usually play a little bit of this so you can see how well the GPU is working. It's loading that thing up. And let's see what it does. This is the video that usually won't play on a watch. It's more detailed graphics. A lot of them, it won't even handle this. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. We got time. What the heck? Let's play it. Things that we're looking for. Smoothness of transitions. Are the fade outs smooth, or are they, changing click, 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 click in shades of gray? How about the movement? Is it nice and smooth as if you were playing a game, right? All that is indicative of how well the innards are working. Nice graphics. Okay, wow. Screen resolution or rendering is rendering at 1920 by 1080, even though the screen itself is 320 by 320. This is the one we're used to seeing. It's a fly-through of a Japanese garden, and it's another test. In the background, it's accumulating all sorts of data to give you one big final number. The same thing here. Now, this is a bit jerky. You see how it's not moving smooth. It's sort of like a flip card thing. Each frame is moving. And there's intermediary frames that are not showing, that are being left out of that. Okay, so I would expect a lower score, 15,000 or lower, maybe between 10 and 15,000. But the fact it played that first one, I'm not sure. Maybe there's some sort of a graphic processor in here as well. All right, at this point, I'm just going to leave and jump ahead to the final number. Wow, I'm surprised. Look at this, 25,000. I guess the jerkiness on the video is something else, but overall, the test score with the processor and everything else taken into consideration, that's pretty decent for a watch. Nice. All right, one last thing I want to cover, and that we can find here. If I go up and over, app permissions, click here to go back. All right, just odd notifications. We want here. Looky, you see in the right circle there? Can you read that? There's a little 3G. I have an AT&T 4G LTE SIM inside the watch, which is supposed to be a 4G watch, and I'm locking up at 3G speeds. on this watch. So I'm not getting 4G, and I want to show you how you could check to see if you could modify something to make it so it'll work on 4G in your area if you have 4G signals and the bands are correct, but the APN isn't right. So to do that, we've got to get into settings, which I guess we could go, I keep dimming the screen, hitting that little slider. We can go over here to our settings, and when you get into settings and you go down, we need a little brighter, wireless and networking is where we go, and here's all our things. And once you've got a SIM card in here, you can get into cellular networks. Here's our cellular networks, and we can turn it on. It looks like it already was on. It was on. See, turn off. It's in the off mode and says turn off. It was in the on mode. It says turn on. They're backwards. So it's on. Now we come down and look at this. We've got preferred network type is 4G, enhanced 4G LTE services, and so forth. But what you're after is this access point names. That's the APNs. Can I get in there? Okay, wow. So it is selecting right now next gen phone for the APN for AT&T. We know that there's other kinds in here, AT&T broadband, AT&T next gen phone like that. And when you get into one of these, you can see that there's some things that you could modify. And it may be possible that if you modify these or create a whole new one and set the parameters that are appropriate for 4G in your area, that it might pop up in 4G. That's beyond where I'm at right now with this. Haven't tested any, but I wanted to guide you there. If you know of an APN that will work, let us know what carrier, and if you want to give us the details of the APN, I'll put that in the show notes too to help people out so they could just say create a new APN and fill in all the fields, save it, select it, and then you'd be able to use it. Okay, it's not going to let me bail out that way, so I'll get out altogether. But as far as what I've got 3G, and let's look at the data speed. The app I use is Speed Test, and we load it up. Now, before I got here, while I was off camera, I went in and I turned off Wi-Fi, okay, and I made sure cellular data was turned on. We have the SIM card, and it's connected, as you saw, on 3G. So it's going through the process of trying to find a best server that it can ping against in order to get the test going. We started out. It gives us a ping. A ping is the amount of milliseconds it takes for a signal to go all from here to wherever the server is and back again. 121 milliseconds. And now it's in the process of testing the download. That's the signal speed from the other side of the internet down to your watch. And that came in at 0.39. That means it's actually defaulted down to 2G. It's not even doing 3G. That's like modem speeds, if you remember from the dark ages. Upload looks like it may even be slower. And that's how it works. These are watches with tiny little bands and everything in it. And I happened to be in a really bad spot when I filmed this to get good results. If I stood up and I walked over to the door 15 feet away, I'll get between 3 and 5 megabits per second here. If I'm driving around in the car, I can stream audio and listen to Django or tune in radio and listen to a radio station anywhere in the world, and it doesn't drop out very often. But right here, right now, we're getting a lousy results. But we are getting actual data transfer, so it does show that the watch will work in the USA on AT&T and probably T-Mobile, not Verizon, not Sprint. They don't use the right networks. But T-Mobile and AT&T use the GSM network, and in your country, you got to make sure that's the network to start with before you can even go any further. All right, that's as far as I'm going on a deep dive so far. This is really warm. It's gotten pretty hot right now. And how's it doing on battery? Let's get all the way back here. Come down. Wow, I'm down to 28%. Now, I wasn't at 100 when I started this. I was maybe at 50. And I've done some heavy-duty things like the Antutu report. And it is getting kind of warm. So, yeah, it's putting the watch through a real test. Anyway, if you like this one, once again, we encourage you to use the sponsor links down below. If you're finding this data useful, it helps me out, helps these guys out, and helps you out if you can kind of close the loop. Make sure you purchase whatever watch you like using our links down below. They see how many they're selling because of our videos, and that encourages them to send high-value watches out here for review. And a thumbs up, a like on any of the videos, and your subscription really help out as well. All right, that's it. I hope you've learned something, and we've done about what we're going to do on this one. If I can get one in that has the full complement of Google software, we'll do another review. Otherwise, there you go, the DM2018. Catch you later.